Good morning and welcome to our very first podcast with us at Groundsure. My name's Tom Harvey-James. I'm the Technical Communications Executive and I'm joined by a few of my colleagues. Megan?
Yes, I'm Megan Goodman. I am a graduate mining search writer. I've just joined the company and I'm sapping up knowledge like a sponge at the minute.
Certainly are. I'm joined by Stuart and Kerry as well, who have joined us from our Brighton office.
So I'm Kerry Sansom, I'm Consultancy Director and I work with the search team, so Megan and her team who write the searches, and the geology team who locally go and investigate the sorts of issues that they find.
They do the fun stuff.
They do the fun stuff.
No,
I don't think that's fair. I think the mapping is actually really interesting too. The whole thing runs very well together.
We did say earlier that we are a company of map nerds. So,
yes,
definitely.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's a fair assumption.
And hi there, my name's Stuart Telfer. I'm Operations Director at Groundsure. I work with Kerry, I work with the consultants, but I also work with all the teams who pull together the data to make sure it's accurate and as informative as possible.
Very important. So we thought we'd come together today and just have a bit of discussion about what Groundsure has to offer and some of the cool projects that we're working on. So I suppose the first thing to touch on is why we exist and some of the cool things that we do. So we typically produce environmental and mining reports for conveyancing purposes, whether that's to help homeowners obtain a mortgage or for developing purposes where somebody may wish to build on a plot of land. They want to know if there are any potential risks from things such as contaminated land, flooding, mining, and a host of other lovely things. So the mining is where you come in, really, Megan. I certainly used to have my hand in the mining jar, but I've since moved on. So I'll let you explain a little bit about that.
My role, I receive property locations and it's my job to see if there's any mining risk, and that can be ascertained through looking at OS maps. So we've got a really great historic record of OS maps which are digitised, which I didn't realise before I joined weren't digitised.
No.
So I'm able to flick through different editions and spot mining features, which sometimes are very clearly labelled, saying quarry, and sometimes it's more you have to use your intuition and assess around the property. But
that's where the skill comes in.
Yeah. And it's not just OS, we have geology maps, we have LiDAR, we have a plethora of data sets that can inform us of mining around.
And we were talking about this earlier because I, in my former role, doing as a mining consultant, what you did, I had to go to all the record offices across the county looking at these mine plans and in some cases photographing them or tracing them and trying to extract that information manually before we digitised them. And then Stuart, you were saying the same prior to that.
Yeah, back in the day we had a team up in the British Library and we'd send them by fax, if anyone remembers what a fax machine is, locations, and they would photocopy maps and then post them back to us in the office the next day. And then we'd look at them and write reports on that, whereas, as Megan was saying, it's all on the GIS at the moment and you can look at it. It's incredible.
Did you ever have any competition to get certain maps from competitors that might have been doing the same thing as you? So if you're going to the British Library and you think, oh, they've got that map I want.
Exactly. We had our team there. There was our teams there. It was kind of quite competitive.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I can imagine.
I certainly met a lot of characters doing that role as well. I remember one where I was up in Wales and you meet all these sort of people that share the passion for history with you in these archives. And yeah, I met this one gentleman in Wales and he was just telling me all this information about some of the local mines that I couldn't find out in any books or from any records, but it was all just in his brain. And we just sat down and had multiple cups of coffee and filled out numerous notebooks of information.
And I think that's one of the things about mining is that obviously there's recorded features and there's a lot of unrecorded features, which I guess is where that kind of interpretation piece is so important, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Local knowledge out of somebody who just knows is invaluable.
Yeah, I guess it's one of the benefits of having a mining team based in Cornwall.
Yeah.
We've got a reputation certainly for the mining industry globally. There's that old saying, wherever you go in the world, if there's a hole, there's a Cornishman at the bottom of it. And with things like the Camden School of Mines, there's just such a hub and of information and knowledge down here. So it's great to have you part of the team, really.
And I think that experience with all of my other colleagues has also helped us branch out and do the rest of the UK, because we've got that basis of our Cornwall knowledge, and that can be applicable to other areas of mining with mining heritage all over the UK. So
Yeah,
I think one of the advantages that we certainly have is the kind of the history and the number of site investigations that we've done in Cornwall, and being able to use that additional information and and having that as part of the kind of resource to us, it kind of makes that that information is unique.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly one thing is looking at a 300-year-old plan and trying to interpret what it means, but nothing's going to beat actually digging and finding first-hand information about what is actually in the ground. And that's certainly where the geology team, part of your team, comes in to help offer that service is fantastic.
Yeah, so from a search point of view, we look at the risks, we understand what there might be there, and from that we'll tailor potential solutions. So in certain circumstances, actually going and looking at the structures to see whether that's giving us an indication of whether the ground shifting or not is what we need to do. And if there's other features there, then we might choose to go and drill holes to actually see what's down there. And then if we're looking to do a development, then we take a more in-depth approach. We'll go dig trenches across a wider area, or if we're actually checking foundations, we'll do foundation inspections too.
Yeah.
We've worked with quite a lot of developers in the general area to support them where they've chosen to develop, because quite often we're looking at large areas that need development. There's usually a reason why they haven't been developed yet, and quite often, certainly in this area, the reason is mining. So it's great to be able to work with them and support them on that.
And obviously the ideal solution is to be able to provide people with a past report. That's the dream. That's what everybody wants, us and the homeowner. But obviously that isn't always the case. And whilst, as Stuart, you were saying, the site investigation is invaluable, because that can feed back into your team then and can help us assess our records better, and actually with better knowledge of our data and better interpretation, and the more sort of on-site stuff we can do, and actually more likely the more properties we're actually able to pass now, we're able to be a bit more intelligent with how we're assessing risk, and be able to provide a positive outcome for people.
It feels more holistic as well, using our data and then having our geologists going out there, and we've got that communication between the two teams. So
for sure,
we're not having to rely potentially on outsourcing for inspections and stuff. We can do that ourselves. So
yeah, well, then that information gets fed back, doesn't it? So
exactly.
you get two purposes for it.
And we do often pass sites on the basis that we were involved in the initial development. We looked at the foundations. We can be sure that they are clear.
One of the things I really admire is that how to deal with the complexity. You're not just looking at something on the surface on a map, you're interpreting it 3D, how that actually affects things under the ground. So you might have a mine shaft, but the actual risk could be going for 100 metres either side. It's not simple.
No.
And you guys make it look simple, and that's brilliant.
Yeah.
There we go. I like that we make it seem simple. It'd be worth pointing out that we're going to try and produce a few more of these going forward. Certainly touching base with some of our geologists and actually talking you through some of the things that they actually do on site, and hopefully we'll be able to include a nice visit there so you get a chance to see that. So please keep an eye on our socials and things, because we will be uploading those when they're available, as well as some Q&As with some of our customers as well, to really kind of nail down some of the questions that the market is asking, because that's certainly something we want to address. And we also have some events coming up in Cornwall. So we have our mining networking coming up in the new year. This is a fantastic opportunity for local businesses to get in touch and to connect with other fellow businesses, and also have a bit of a wander through our beautiful mining heritage. And I'll be walking you through and pointing out some amazing historical features. So keep an eye out for those. Please feel free to get in touch if you have any questions, or if you have any comments on some of the things that we've discussed today. Would be great to actually hear from you. So thanks very much, and thanks for listening, guys.